Great. City Clerk, can I have your roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Daniel Damian.
Here.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Paul Hernandez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Alejandra Avila.
Here.
And Mayor Emanuel Estrada.
Here. Thank you for that. And
And
before,
City Treasurer Marie Contreras here too.
oh yes, you cannot forget about our city treasurer.
No.
Oh,
Hi, Marie.
hi, Maria. It's very nice to hear you.
Hi, good evening. I know you didn't get to hear me last time
Yeah, you were very.
because I was at mute, but I was there.
Yes, nice. Well, it's nice to hear you, right? Because the year's about to end. This is our last city council meeting, so I'm glad you're here.
Okay.
Great. And then I do want to acknowledge our chief from the fire department is here as well, Chief Flores.
Hey, they've been great, those firemen.
Yes.
They take me to Kaiser every other week.
Very nice. Great. And then so we have the announcement, which is the City Council are also members of the Board of Directors of the Housing Authority and Finance Authority, which are concurrently convening with the City Council this evening, and each council member is paid an additional stipend of $30 for attending the Housing Authority meeting and $50 for attending the Finance Authority meeting. At this moment, we will move to proclamations, commendations, and presentations, and we have our first presentation regarding water conservation by Jose Martinez, the Valley County Water General Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, staff. I should probably schedule to do a presentation with you guys every month because every time I seem to schedule it, we get rain, significant rain the day before and a snow-packed mountain. So I think we should go ahead and probably schedule one of these things every month because that tends to happen. But thank you for this opportunity and time to talk a little bit about the current drought conditions, although, yes, we still are in a drought conditions despite it being about 30-some degrees and an inch or so of rain yesterday. I'm not sure who's controlling the slides, or do I control the slides? Do I? So this really is, this map right here, this slide shows the difference really between last year and this year in November. About 52% of the state currently, and that might have changed this last few days, but 52% is in that extraordinary drought conditions, with about 26% in that exceptional drought. So about overall, we're looking at 37 million of Californians are living in somewhat of a drought condition area as of right now. I don't know. Did I point it next to me? Oh, you got it? Okay, I'll see you next. Thank you. I think I might have skipped a slide. Okay, never mind. I did not. Okay. So a little bit about water years. The water, it's different from a calendar year. The water year actually goes from the 1st of October to the end of September. And the water year of 2021 was an extremely dry year, as the second driest on record, and certainly with high temperatures. And 2020 was also the 5th driest year. So those combination of, in the state of California, having those drought-like conditions really had an impact on our local resources. And as of right now, our allocation to the State Water Project is at a 0. And that will have a significant impact on bringing imported water supplies into our basin. Thankfully, Valley County Water District and most of the other water districts that serve the city of Baldwin Park are dependent on local groundwater supplies. That's good, but we're also dependent on local the precipitation. So if we don't get the precipitation to replenish, okay, I'm sorry, apologize. So if we don't get the local precipitation rate that will replenish our basin, that will start having an impact on the levels of where we're at. Next slide. I'll just do that. Certainly efforts have come over. We've heard certain announcement by the governor. We've heard recently that Metropolitan has proclaimed a drought. So those certainly have been statewide messages to the public that we are in a drought conditions. Despite the rain we received, we certainly hope that rain continues. We typically average around 16 inches of rain in a year. Last year, we received about 25% of that total rainfall, so about 4 inches. So we were significant. We have to make up for last year, the year before. So hopefully this year continues. Last year we started off really great, just like we're starting off great this year, but then it dried up, and we didn't have a true rainfall season to replenish our local groundwater supplies. Next slide, please. One thing we really want to advocate to our customers is that we have been in a stage 1 water conservation drought since 2016. We have not wavered from that. With that comes outdoor watering limitations. So right now we limit outdoor watering for our customers to 3 days a week. Those 3 days a week will reduce overall water use throughout our entire service area. Typically, about 60% of homeowners' water use goes outdoors. So having some type of limitation to those outdoor water uses certainly has that reduction of over water supplies, or use of water supplies in our service area. Also, no watering between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. We get questions about why not. During those time periods, that is the most direct sunlight that we get, which when you look at irrigation, the purpose for irrigation is to replenish what has been lost to the environment through what they call evapotranspiration. That's evaporation and transpiration of the plants. So that's why we irrigate, to replace the natural moisture that has been lost to ensure that that plant is healthy. A couple other things is that if somebody does have a leak and they have been made aware of it, we do encourage them to fix it within a 5-day. That is not only beneficial to the homeowner, to the business, but also beneficial to the entire region to save water collectively. Next slide, please. Yesterday is the whole month of December, we kind of get into a routine that we need to water on a daily basis. And right now, especially when I use that term evapotranspiration, the evapotranspiration rates for the months of December, January, and these winter, early spring months is nearly next to nothing. So you can almost go the entire month of December and January and not add any water to your outdoor landscape, and it'll be fine. Why? Because none of the natural evaporation or transpiration is occurring. There's not enough heat, there's not enough direct sunlight, solar radiation that causes that for the plant material to actually start losing that moisture. So that is certainly something we encourage. And there is regulations right now, it's in our ordinance as well as in state ordinance, that anytime it rains, that you don't water or irrigate 48 hours after a rain has occurred. Next slide, please. The district certainly promotes a lot of conservation programs, from rebates. We've done toilet distributions. We've done community projects of landscape changes. We've participated with the city as well as the school district in installing water fill stations, which encourages the reduction of use of plastic, which there involves the use of water to make that plastic, and certainly a more green, sustainable, to use some type of refillable cycle. So very happy with that. We are launching an in-home virtual water home survey, where our staff will walk the customers virtually, assist them to identify any potential leaks in their home. So we're in the process of launching that. And we're very excited as soon as things get better, as far as being able to attend public functions, go to schools, to really start encouraging education of how the students, how our public can really utilize and use water in a very efficient manner. So we're excited to continue to promote these programs, as well as our customers can log on to our website, check out everything that we have there. If you don't currently follow the district on social media, I don't like to toot our own horn, but I think we've been doing a fantastic job as far as promoting all the programs that we offer to our public. So that is certainly an opportunity for our customers, for the city to be engaged in the programs that not only that we offer, but the wholesale water agencies such as Upper District, as well as the Metropolitan Water District, all those collective efforts in which the citizens of Baldwin Park can utilize and participate in. Next slide, please. Oh, actually, I skipped one on that, and probably the most important one, and one that we're about 25% through the installation, is the smart meters. These are meters that will be able to identify continuous leaks at a resident. Currently, right now, we read the meters, physically walk from meter to meter on a bi-monthly basis to register how much water has been used during that period. With these smart meters, the district will now be able to pull those meters, pull those reads electronically and receive those. If a customer calls us, if they have an issue with how much water, we'll be able to plug into that meter, pull out exactly if there is continuous water flow, and we will actually be alerted if there is a 24-hour flow on that meter. So what may have taken in the past 2 months to identify and to alert a customer of a water leak, we will now be able to provide them a quick turnaround if there is a leak going on at that property. So not only they can save money, but again, we save water as a region. Next slide, please. Very excited, and this one goes kind of hand in hand with our ability to engage the public, invite the public to our facilities so they learn about what we're doing as far as treating the local water supply. What we're trying to promote of water use efficiency is that we're looking to be done with our new district headquarters early this summer, and we are going after certain grant fundings. If we look at the next slide, we are looking for partnerships as well as outside grant funding to pay for an education demonstration garden, which will be in front of the facility. So very excited with that, but as mentioned, we are looking at outside grant funding before we proceed with the actual construction of this portion of the project. Next slide, please. And with that, that's all I have to present this evening. Again, I thank you for your time. And if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them at this moment.
Great, thank you. At this moment, I'll give the floor to council members who have any questions, comments, concerns.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. Jose, thank you very much for the presentation. Also want to acknowledge and thank some of your directors.
Now you're going to get me in trouble. I'm sorry. We do
No,
have
President Muse. I'll take care of it for you.
Thank you.
And Director Vargas, and along with your others that are probably online tonight. Just one other item, if you can just share with us, Jose, can you just share with the audience, the low-income program that you have?
Yes, thank you very much. And this was a program that we launched when Councilmember Hernandez was on our board of directors at the Water District. We launched an affordable rate program. This program mirrors what currently the gas company and Edison offer to their customers. So if an individual qualifies for those programs, they automatically qualify for our affordable rate program. And that knocks off a portion of the fixed cost of their bill. Because of certain restrictions of how we can utilize public funds that we receive through the water services, we actually use certain funding through interest that is made from reserves, as well as funds that we receive through cell phone towers and other means of that to help pay for individuals that qualify for that program. So that program, as mentioned, is available to all Valley County Water District. There are several other water districts in the city of Baldwin Park, but for customers who are part of our service area and do qualify for the Edison, the care programs through Edison and the gas company would qualify for ours as well. And we are looking to modify that program to match a couple of alterations that Edison and the gas company have done recently as well. They kind of have a tiered program that we're looking to mirror as well.
Great, thank you for that. Is there anybody else looking to comment?
Thank you for the presentation. It's always good to remind all of us to conserve water. In the future, or I don't know if you already have something where we can, containers for when it rains so we can retain our rainwater.
Yeah, rain barrels have been a very popular conservation program which I've participated in the past. Unfortunately, we all have our responsibilities. The city has responsibilities. The county has responsibilities. Some of those programs have been limited because of the potential of housing mosquitoes or creating a habitat for mosquitoes. But if done correctly, you could certainly avoid that. But ever since that, we have kind of limited some of the distribution and funding. Outside funding through the Metropolitan has actually kind of dried up for certain programs like that. But certainly, if an individual would like to contact the district, we can certainly lead them into the right direction of how to do it safely and capture this very essential rainwater in which we receive.
Okay.
I will say this, the San Gabriel River, the San Gabriel Valley does an excellent job of capturing a lot of water up in the valley, up in the hills, from the different dam structures, the county and all the agencies that are involved of really capturing, storing that water behind the dams and allow it to periodically go down the river, and that allows it to percolate into the ground once it's allowed. But they also have the responsibility to keep, you may have seen old photos of Baldwin Park in about 10 feet of water flooded before. That's why we have these dam structures to the north of us. That's why we have the Santa Fe Dam. These provide protection to the community, so it is a partnership to provide that protection from flooding, but also conserve that water to allow it to go down the river and do what water naturally does, to percolate and to replenish the groundwater supply that we depend on so much.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is awesome. Keep them coming.
Yes, and
But I'll be here all night if you keep
Sure. One question, Jose. You said that the majority of the water for Baldwin Park, at least for your district, comes from the local groundwater.
Correct.
What has the most direct benefit to the replenishment of that groundwater? I know the county has those spreading grounds just upstream of Baldwin Park, the Santa Fe Dam. I don't know if that one acts as a percolation ground or not, but what has the most direct benefit to our water supply here in Baldwin Park?
Well, probably the most direct benefit is just natural precipitation, and I apologize if I'm not following the question, but the benefit, the best benefit to our natural water supplies is just natural rain.
Yeah, but how do you get it in the ground here in Baldwin
unfortunately,
Park?
we just don't get enough of it to replenish, because it's not just the city of Baldwin Park, it's the entire San Gabriel Valley that's pulling from the same water supply. So with the overproduction of that water, that's why I have a job. That's why so many people in water industry have a job, because we have to manage that resource.
Right, but I'm saying
it's just like a bank account. You can't just keep on
we
pulling.
don't have spreading grounds ourselves here in Baldwin Park.
The spreading grounds are controlled by the county.
Right.
The
So
county
is
of Los
that
Angeles.
what gets the water in the ground that we eventually pull out?
The county manages the facilities, but it's agencies such as ourselves, Upper District, and other productions that are responsible to purchase the water. So if we don't get the natural rain, we have to purchase our overproduction and percolate it, replenish it into the ground. So why do we charge water? Everybody says, shouldn't the water be free? Absolutely, the water should be free. What we pay for is to treat it, to move it, and to replenish our overproduction. That's where the costs come, as well as the staffing to make sure and ensure that happens. And that's where the costs, as a public agency, we can only charge what it costs us to deliver that water to our customers. We're not a for-profit agency. We are a public servant just as the city staff is here. We have an elected board of directors that make sure that they represent the community.
Because what I was saying is, it's great that we get local rain, but
Correct.
if all the water runs down the street and down the river, down to the Whittier Narrows, does that benefit Baldwin Park?
Absolutely, but there is a sharing. We do not own 100% access to the San Gabriel River. If we want to get into water law, we're going to have to schedule a study group.
was saying, if the idea is to get the water in the ground, in the groundwater, how do we do that here in Baldwin Park? That's all I'm asking.
Local and planning will tell you that with local planning codes, we are actually, the requirement is that you have to contain the water that hits your property. So building these local containments actually helps to naturally percolate. Changing your landscape to having concrete or grass or just allowing, you guys did a great project here on Main Avenue where you actually capture some of the rainwater.
A great partnership with the city on
Absolutely.
stormwater capture would be great, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Jose.
Any other question?
Great. If anybody else has any other questions, comments? Not? Thank you, Jose, for being here.
Very good, thank you. I appreciate.
Next, we have a presentation from Waste Management by Terry Muse, our Public Sector Solutions representative.
I have a presentation, a PowerPoint. I don't know who has it. Mark has it? Oh, okay. So Mark, can you pull up my presentation? Wherever you are? I mean, I could talk without it, it's fine, but I just, there he
We do
is,
not-
okay.
We did not receive the PowerPoint file from your firm.
No PowerPoint? Okay,
I'll send it to you. Give me a
that's okay. I could just do it without the PowerPoint. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Again, I'm Terry Muse, Waste Management's Public Sector Representative for Baldwin Park. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about a service day change that will be taking place the week of January 3rd. So from time to time, routes get imbalanced, and it becomes necessary to rearrange the routes. And for Friday, a lot of our routes are about 1,700 stops, which is a lot of stops, if you can imagine doing that in one day. And then some of them are only 1,000 stops. So it definitely became a need for us to try and balance these out for a couple of reasons. One is the drivers tend to be out late. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they're out late. And particularly during daylight savings time, it gets to be really a problem because it's dark. So nobody wants a trash truck out after dark. It's not safe for the driver, not safe for the community. So we're going to rebalance the routes. And what we're going to do is we're going to service everything north of Ramona on Thursday. And that means your trash, your recycling, your green waste, and your bulky items will all be on Thursday. And everything south of Ramona will remain on Friday. So Ramona was a nice dividing line of the city. And also what worked out great is there's no street sweeping north of Ramona on Thursday, so we're not going to disrupt any street sweeping. We're doing a lot of outreach to get the word out. A flyer was mailed out to all the residents who live north of Ramona this week. A postcard will go out the week of December 28th. And then January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we'll be doing, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we'll be doing an out-dial call or a text message or an email, however the customer has asked us to communicate to them about the change. It's going to be in Spanish, English, and in simple Chinese. So we're hoping we can reach all the residents that way. We're also going to be having an ad in the Baldwin Park Now, an 8.5 by 11 ad. We're also going to be placing it on the Waste Management Baldwin Park website, the Baldwin Park City website. I already see that there's social media going out. Thank you. I think Helen does the social media. I've already seen some social media posts to let people know. And also the Baldwin Park, the Morgan Park marquee will be having something on the marquee. Or this mask keeps falling off. And I'm trying to think. That's pretty much what we're. And also I said the outdoor messages, and plus all of our customer service agents have been given the information. So we know that what's going to probably happen the first 3-4 weeks is that people are going to still be putting their trash out on Friday. So we will be picking up trash for anybody who does put their trash out on Friday instead of Thursday. They just need to call us, and we'll pick it up for them on Friday. If they happen to call late on Friday, we'll do it on Saturday. So we're hoping it'll be a smooth transition, and we thank the city for working with us to make this a better quality of life for our drivers and for the community. And that's all I have. So if anybody has any questions.
Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Terry, for that information. I agree with you. Sometimes it's 8 o'clock at night and I see the trash just going by. So I really feel for those drivers that are working so late. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it'll be any interruption to anybody's service. And if anything, our trash will be picked up earlier so we can bring our trash cans in earlier. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Is there any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Does that also apply for private business?
Private businesses are picked up Monday through Saturday, depending on whatever schedule that they have arranged with us. So it doesn't affect the businesses, no.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Terry,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I also want to appreciate the fact that you're consolidating bulky item service with trash service, because if folks don't know that bulky item was collected on a different day than trash day, then residents may think that it's just blight full. It sits out there on a non-trash collection day, so that will have a sort of a corollary good benefit as well.
Right. We try to move the bulky items to Thursday, try to alleviate some of the problem with the Friday late pickups in terms of the drivers, but it just wasn't enough. So that's when we figured we better just go ahead and do half the city on Thursday. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful holiday, all of you.
Thank you. Then next, we have our oath of office for personnel and housing commissioners. So I think the way we'll do this is our commissioners can join us in the front, and you can separate based on commission. I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mayor Estrada. Yes, on behalf of Senator Susan Rubio, we would also like to congratulate all newly installed commissioners. This is a great endeavor that you're taking on for both our community and our residents. And on behalf of Senator Rubio, we have a token of our appreciation for you. So I'll go ahead and meet you up on the dais just to give these certificates. But on behalf of us all, we'd like to just thank you for the large responsibility and your civic duty to the city of Baldwin Park. Congratulations.
Great. And I do want to congratulate all the commissioners once more, and thank you for taking on this this challenge, and of course to the office of Senator Susan Rubio, who came out and also congratulated you all. And so I believe at this point we are ready to move on to public communications. City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak?
Yes, Mayor. We actually have two individuals who asked that we call them. One is Kiana Martinez, and the other is Merrick Chang. So I'm going to defer to the Deputy City Clerk.
Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, City Council. My name is Merrick Chang. I am a Baldwin Park resident for the past 2 years. I'm speaking on the issue regarding street vendors. I think it's a great idea. My wife and I, like I said, recently moved into the community, and remember the Thursday nights down on Main Street. We were a big fan of those, and hopefully with the pandemic easing, or not easing, or as things change, hopefully we can bring those back soon. So excited to see this on the board. Also got to see Zacalo Park, and just like the idea of perhaps having like a farmer's market there or something along the lines of that would be awesome. But I'm also speaking to, I guess, besides street vendors, so like perhaps more vendor spaces, and specifically one that I live in the Palmera community, which is on the edge of Badillo and Ramona, right where the two meet. And there is the red brick building, the substation that used to belong to Pacific Electric. I've tried contacting the Historical Society, and I was just wondering where I could get more information about that. I know it was slated to be like a retail space, and then from my basic research, what I know, I think the city now owns it. So yeah, if there's a place to get information on that, I think that'd make a great place, even for like a rotating, for vendors to come in and rotate if the city decides to pursue it as a retail space. But I'd like to get more information on that, and thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Kiana Martinez.
Okay. Hello. I'm calling to comment on agenda item number 3 and 4. So for number 3, the purchase of the license plate readers, we think that this is completely unnecessary. That's a lot of money to spend, about $86,000 on purchasing these cameras. And so we don't think that that's something that's going to help the community. It seems that it would be an excuse to surveillance and profile vulnerable communities, such as folks who are undocumented and others. And so a lot of these things that it says there that it's going to help with, like stolen cars, that is not a preventative measure. So that's going to, be used to punish and use punitive measures on people versus we need to be finding solutions that are going to prevent cars from being stolen, maybe having, getting out. I'm sure that with that amount of money, you can provide a proper locks for people for their cars, and things of that nature that actually prevent cars from being stolen. And then on agenda item number 4, tasers, those are can hurt someone and possibly even kill someone. So that's completely unacceptable for the police to be using against our community. And that's also a large amount of money to spend on that for our city, which is a waste of money as well. And this type of money, I know that there are some limitations, but we should be setting an example that we don't want to use punitive measures and harmful and possibly measures that could kill or harm our community. And we should use that money if possible for other things during a pandemic. And so that will complete my comment. Thank you.
Those are all the members that called that requested we call them on the phone. Elvia Del Rio is out in the audience. She would like to speak on item number 10, and she will need an interpreter.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Elvia y yo vengo acerca de la calle Calino. Es un proyecto que no tiene drenaje, que como las personas que habló antes, que decía que la lluvia, que necesitamos lluvia y todo. Ok, sí necesitamos lluvia, pero en realidad cuando está lloviendo y ustedes están secos allí, en mi calle se está haciendo una laguna que dura meses, con mosquitos, es lo más feo que puede haber, ¿verdad? Y yo vengo a pedirles, por favor, que consideren y que puedan arreglar poner drenaje, porque estamos viviendo en una ciudad tan bonita que es Baldwin Park y no tenemos drenaje nosotros en esa calle, Calino Avenue, ¿verdad? Que es la única calle que tiene Baldwin Park indeporable. Entonces, yo quisiera que por favor consideraran y nos apoyaran en poner el drenaje y arreglar esa calle, porque adoro mis vecinos, es una calle y una ciudad. Yo tengo 28 años viviendo en esta ciudad y no me quiero mover de esta ciudad. No quiero vender mi casa y moverme. Yo quisiera, por favor, que consideraran que nos pudieran arreglar esa calle para que mis nietos puedan salir a jugar después de que la lluvia se quite. Es todo. Muchas gracias.
Good evening. My name is Elvia Del Rio. I'm here in regards to Calino Street. I have to tell you that there's no drain system there. The people before have told us about the conservation of the rain and the fact that we need rain, and all that is good. But there's in my house, every time it rains, there's like a lagoon that stays there forever, and then that promotes the growth of mosquitoes and all that. You need to fix the drain system. Baldwin Park is a beautiful city, and it is unacceptable that there is no drainage system in Camino Avenue. So you need to put and install one. I love my neighbors. I love the city. I want you to consider this and fix street so that my grandchildren can go and play there. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yijun Shang is also speaking on item number 10.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yijun Zhang. I have been the Baldwin Park residential since 2017. This is my first property which I purchased. I love this city because after I live here, I like the neighborhood, but the only two things is not good. First is this is a private street. The road is very ugly, and every morning, because I work, everybody work very early. The car go out. Very difficult. Sorry, my English is not too full. And the second thing is about septic tank. The septic tank is really difficult to me because every 2 years, 3 years, I need to clean that. So today, I just received this notice to come here at 6 evening. I heard Miss David Lopez tell me there is a special program and fix the road and remove the septic tank. And I really happy about that. I hope it will come true. And one more thing, some people used to tell me the people live in America used to usually move the home every 3 years to 5 years, but I don't like to move my home. I live here. It's my first property house, and I think it's my last one. And that's it. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Arturo Luna, he will speak on any item.
Hello, half of the city council. When you vote for somebody to be in office, you expect them to be here. Pretty soon, you're going to have nothing but videos. We didn't ask you to vote to have videos. We asked you to be here. Those two people or whoever isn't here shouldn't get paid. That would be like me calling in at work and saying, hey, I got my work done, even though I didn't do it. No matter if you do it at home or do it here. We pay these people to be here. We don't pay them to be at home. Now, if I was a mayor, I wouldn't pay them. I'd take the lawyer, find an excuse not to pay them. That's how simple it is. Also, you people are spending a lot of money, boy, a lot of money. Where do you guys get all this money? You have the street vendors, so claim free. Where do you get all the money? I know. Ask the lady here at the corner to find a loophole in the system so she can get money for you people. Did we gain anything from that loophole? Did these people, residents of Baldwin Park, gain anything? You people might have gained something, but we sure in the hell didn't. So the loophole are them two people and that lady there. You keep telling us, don't point at them, don't talk about them. That's why you're supposed to be here. That gentleman there, that lady over here. How many times you people got to be told? You spend all this money. I ask you every time I come, give me a financial report. So claim you guys turn it in, pass it through. We don't know if we're bankrupt. We don't know if we're making $1 or we're making millions. You haven't collected anything from all the marijuana stuff. What is the lawyer waiting for? He's the first one on the list. He got it free. And he's standing there looking at all of us. I got it free. Everybody else has to pay. That's the kind of lawyer we have. That's what he deserves. He should be fired. But you know why you guys keep him? Because he gives you a donation, and maybe all the rest of you. That's called white
Your time is up. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Cathroth, he would like to speak on item number 8.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Steve Coffroth, I'm Chief Negotiator for SAIU Local 721. I want to take a moment to just acknowledge and appreciate the change in tone and tenor that we've had recently with our new city manager. As you may know, we did not have the greatest relationship with the prior administration, and those efforts were difficult and often combative. And I want to just say publicly and be very appreciative of the collaborative and thoughtful effort that went through in this negotiations that has resulted in a good agreement for us and for the city. And we thank you for selecting him as our city manager and for him for his approach and willingness to work with us. We thank you for that and urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And those are all the cards we received, Mayor.
Great, thank you. So at this point, if somebody didn't fill out a card and is looking to speak, now is your time.
I'm going to need a translator. I want to talk in English and then. Mrs. Garcia, keep an eye on the clock, okay? The last time you told me around 20 seconds. Okay? I even saw it on the video, okay?
I
Señora
keep an eye on the
Garcia.
clock. I did not steal 20 seconds from you. You have three minutes to speak.
Tiene 3 minutos para hablar. I'm going to start off with Paul Hernandez and the mayor.
Voy a empezar con Paul Hernández y el alcalde.
The last meeting that I came to, I noticed on the video that you guys got into it. Paul, you call him a child.
La última vez que
Go ahead.
La última vez que estuve vi en el video que ustedes empezaron a atacarse como unos niños.
Es una cosa que en todo el Valle de San Gabriel, yo he estado aquí 60 años. Tengo muchos amigos en Covina, Whittier, Monrovia, Duarte, and everything. They call me up and they ask me, who's the child?
I've been here for 60 years, and I have friends all over the place in Covina, Whittier, Monrovia, Duarte, and other places. And they call me and say, who's the child?
Please, if you guys are going to get into it, do it in private. I don't want to be the city of Baldwin Park being the laughing stock of the St. Gabriel Valley.
Por favor, si se van a agarrar, háganlo en privado. No quiero que la ciudad de Baldwin Park sea el hazme reír.
Now, another thing on the vendors, street vendors. If you guys really want to learn about the street vendors,
get city of Anaheim to send you what they're doing. They're picking up equipment and everything. The code enforcers, they work even at nighttime, and the county of Orange, the health department, is going with them.
Ahora sí, otro tema es el de los vendedores. Si ustedes quieren aprender acerca de los vendedores, vayan al condado de Orange, a la ciudad de Anaheim, y vean lo que están haciendo. Ellos incluso recogen el equipo y todo.
That's another joke that we have right here in Baldwin Park and on the San Gabriel Valley, Almani, Baldwin Park, La Puente, City of Industry. We're a joke. We're a taquero cities now. You know.
Este es otro chiste que tenemos aquí en la ciudad de Baldwin Park, en La Puente y Ciudad de Industria. Somos unos taqueros.
Another thing, we have to understand the license and the health department with the state of California is written down already. We had a law right here in Baldwin Park that we couldn't have them.
Otra cosa es la licencia de California y demás. Es redundante. Tenemos una ley que aquí no podían permitirse.
It's not that I am against the taco vendors, but let them go through the process of getting licenses in the health department, get the insurance and everything.
No es que yo esté en contra de los vendedores de tacos, pero es que ellos tienen que sacar sus licencias, sus permisos y todo lo demás.
Now let the taco vendors quiet for a while. One of the things that I would say 6 months ago, the gentleman came in here and they wanted some speed bumps next to child care area right here in Baldwin Park. I even requested one in Barnes Park. They refaced that street. They put new cement and everything. At that point, they should have put the speed bumps, not wait until a society they're going to do.
Your time is up,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Con mucho gusto, señor. La otra cosa que quiero hacer es con referencia a los frenados de los street bumps, los reductores de velocidad. Ellos deberían haberlos instalados antes de haber destrozado las calles. Muchas gracias.
Great. Is there anybody else looking to speak? Great. If not, at this moment, I will close. I will close public communication. Just to talk about some of the things, I want to thank the representative from SEIU for coming out, and I see some of our staff here as well. And you know, I think you are right. I think Enrique has been a gem throughout this whole year, and you know, we've been able to, you know, gain a couple of wins, and I don't think that they would have been possible without Enrique. And I do think that we have been creating a very, very great team. So I'm thankful that Enrique came to Baldwin Park, and we've been able to work together and get a lot of stuff done. You know, we talk a lot. You know, some of the things that we're concerned about is spending, and so you know, I'm very proud and excited to say that a lot of these expenditures are through grants. If you're not aware, the city just received over $12 million in grant funding. $6 million for Zocalo, so we can build a brand new civic plaza, give a new face to City Hall, so that people are proud of their city when they come in here and try to do business. We've received $3 million for the expansion of Barnes Park, meaning Barnes Park is going to get bigger. We've received another $3 million to create bike trails along the Big Dalton Wash, and all that is at the cost of the state, not at the cost of the city. We are very conscious about the spending that we do here. You know, another big thing is ARPA. We had ARP funds to spend on, you know, kind of eradicating socioeconomic barriers and looking at things, and we've been able to do so, and we've been doing a lot of spending. Yes, we have, but it's not just expenditures, they're investments, and they're investments in your infrastructure, and not just your physical infrastructure, but the infrastructure of your community, people infrastructure. We've been able to subsidize healthcare. We've been able to subsidize recreational programs for children and seniors. We've been able to fund bigger food basket programs. So this year, the food basket was probably twice as large as before. This year we were able to help 100 more kids than usual at the Santa Claus program. So a lot of these expenditures are good, and they're at the benefit of you, the benefit of us, benefit of our families. And I would say that this year Baldwin Park has really taken a point of view, a perspective that prioritizes families, especially after a pandemic. The city is conscious of how we spend money, and we do it for the well-being of the community, and the constituents, and our locations, so that they can be stable and they look good. We talk a lot about the downtown revamp. Well, this is part of that. We've invested in infrastructure, and hopefully that makes people want to come here and set up their businesses and support that. Again, I think we're very transparent about the way we spend money here. We do it because otherwise we wouldn't have those opportunities. We've invested a lot in public safety, and I think that's important, especially now. If you're not aware, the city's been trying to hire more officers, and there's been some hiccups. But we've been able to invest in their infrastructure so that the officers that we do have an easier job. We're not looking to, go after small minority groups or anything like that. We're trying to make sure that crime in Baldwin Park stays low and that every single one of you stays safe. But it hasn't been at the cost of public funding. So yes, we are investing a lot in public safety, but we've invested a bigger amount of money into the community through all the programs that I've mentioned. I think if you look at our ARP list, PD is actually one of the departments that got the least amount of money from the ARP. We're investing over $11.5 million alone on community benefits. So we are doing a lot of expenditures, yes, but they are investments. It's not a waste of money, and I'm very proud to share that with all of you. I think a lot of the times, a lot of the good news go unnoticed. So just wanted to share that with you. I know a lot of you talked about other topics, and we'll be able to talk about that once we get to those agenda items. So thank you for that.
Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I want to touch up on what you're speaking about as well. Just to reiterate what you said, the money that we are spending is being invested in our community for the betterment of our community, as well as our employees. We want to make sure that our employees are getting the best service from our city, because they come and they serve us as a community. They put all their efforts. They spend more time here in our community. So I think they deserve to be compensated for the work that they do. Happy employees means a happy city, means we have good services. So I think it's important that we work with them. As our union representative said, Enrique has been essential to these negotiations, and his personality is definitely good for us. He's a good negotiator. He has a great personality. He's a people person, and he cares about every single one of our employees as well as we do. We want the best for you, and we hope that we continue this conversation so that we continue to work together, because I like to see our employees happy. I like to see them, we just had the Christmas luncheon. I like to see them talking and laughing and just enjoying each other and enjoying the fact that they're actually at work. How many people can say they love their work? I see them out there and I see them enjoying themselves. So thank you for all the work that you do, and I think you deserve everything. Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, City Clerk.
I rarely ever speak, but the integrity of the role of the City Clerk and Deputy City Clerk was questioned tonight. And as the audience saw here and witnessed, when an individual, a member of the public, would like to come and speak, and if they need an interpreter, we have an exceptional interpreter now available to us, who will either take notes, and after the person has spoken for 3 minutes, he will repeat everything they've said. Or if the individual will take a break and the interpreter can then say what they've said, the time clock stops in those instances. So it's not that time was taken away from the speaker. It is not. So I just wanted to clarify that for those out in the audience or those out in the internet world who are listening to us, that is not the case. So we're very cognizant of your legal right to speak for 3 minutes, and we appreciate your speaking, and we want to make sure that you have that right to do so. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So just quickly before I move on, if any other council members have any comments.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I just want to take this opportunity because we have a large audience, if we just have the chief of police kind of share with us really quickly what he's got planned tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Tomorrow we're doing the Santa Claus Cop giveaway, toy giveaway. It's something that's been a tradition for the police department for quite some time, and we've received a lot of donations for toys. So there's going to be a time for the Baldwin Park community to come by and be with see Santa. We have some elves also that are helping, and this is something that is close to my heart because of the ability to meet with our community and also especially our kids. So it's going to be a great celebration and a great process. Hopefully, it'll move quickly because I know we'll have quite a few folks here to be part of this toy giveaway. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock and then it goes on to about 8:30. So welcome everybody to come by and see what we have. Thank you.
Very neat. Thank you for that, Chief. And then I guess speaking on, since we have a large audience here, right, Councilmember Hernandez, after that you do get to enjoy Posada with the city on December 20th. So December 20th, I believe it starts at 7. There will be a mass with St. John's at 6:15, I believe. At St. John's, you can meet us at St. John's, or at 7 o'clock, you can meet us at the Cesar Chavez Amphitheater. So tomorrow, spend some time with the PD, and then on Monday you can spend some time with the rest of with everybody, including our PD. I'm sure they'll be there. So at this moment, we will move to. Was that Councilmember Garcia?
Yes, I'd like to take the opportunity to close on behalf of a longtime Baldwin Park resident, Silvino Moreno Anguiano. And he was born in 1944 in Mexico and passed away just recently. Like I said, he's a longtime Baldwin Park resident. And I had the pleasure of attending school with his son, Gus Anguiano. They moved to Baldwin Park in 1983, and he has 3 children and 6 grandchildren. So just wanted to close on his behalf and also offer our condolences.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Garcia. Yes, by all means, we, as a council and a city, send our condolences to the Anguiano family. So at this moment, we are ready to move to a consent calendar. Is there any items staff is looking to, is there any items that council is looking to pull?
6, please.
Okay, 6. So item 6, I'd like to pull items 10, 15, and 16.
Mayor, item 8.
Great. And then is there any other items? If not, I will make a motion to pass consent calendar items number 1 through 14, excluding items 6, 10, and 8. Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. City Clerk, can I get a roll call?
Yes. Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila? Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Hernandez, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring this up just so for clarity and also for the folks in the audience, because I've been, we've all received several calls and text messages, and and folks come here. Just for clarification for staff, I certainly agree with all these recommendations that we have listed out here because it's something that we all discuss. Is it the intent, given that we have in the report that's attached by the consultant, is it to within the next 45 or so days? Is it the intent for staff to then adopt? That's what's in the memorandum, specifically items under 1 through 3. for council to adopt as it relates to our ordinance and our city process? If someone could answer that, please, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It would be our goal to get direction on these items 1 through 7 and return as soon as possible for each item. I would say for items number 1 and 3, for instance, item number 1 would be looking at making amending our municipal code sidewalk vending ordinance or municipal code. We would come back with recommendations in that 45 to 60 day period for council consideration. It wouldn't necessarily be a first reading, but we would bring back the specific recommendations. Number 2 in particular might take a little longer because we're talking about a food event, but we would bring back the details within 45 days and that includes the winter holiday that we're going to go on for 2 weeks. But the staff would come back with essentially a recommendation to move forward in the details and the funding if needed to bring forward a 2022 series, food series event. And then it would take additional time to develop under number 3, a financial or loan grant assistance program. But we could, if that is the council desire and direction, we could bring back the details for that, and then council could comment on that, give us direction, and we could then implement it. So I would say in general, all those items are coming back with an initial report of direction, and then the council would consider those items and either give us more direction or direct us to move forward.
Okay, no, I appreciate that for clarity, because again, if you're asking for direction and this was going through consent, and if we didn't pull it, you wouldn't be able to get that feedback from the council. So at least for my feedback is I support all these items. But again, I just wanted, for clarification, we have under item 7 is in some of the, certainly under the report that's been attached here, the memorandum, there's a few items that, I think need still to be flushed out. But I guess we can do that, when you bring back that draft ordinance that includes many of the items that are listed in that, right? Because I certainly support a lot of the stuff that's in there. I do have questions in regards to the financial loan and grant and assistance program. I think that's been discussed. I just want to, it's one of those things. If we're going to be asking people if the city's going to be enforcing our ordinance, we need to also provide them the resources so they can, meet the ordinance requirements and begin that process. There's also here in regards to a dedicated staff, similar to folks have mentioned, most of our team, once, the end of the day ends is when we go home. So, in regards to the enforcement effort, as listed through this document, who's going to do that? Do we have money set aside that's going to, have some of the information for that outreach initially before we do the enforcement component added to that? None of that's here, of course, at this moment, but I certainly would like for us to have a significant outreach component, so that way the vendors that are here in our city, and I've met many of these folks, and many of them don't live in our city, which is okay. But we want to make sure that they're aware of what our intentions are, and also provide them the resources so they can comply with our updated ordinance as we move forward with this. I look forward to this in the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any questions?
So,
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
I wanted to ask about item number 1 here, and just have some better understanding from staff. But we've heard from existing businesses and business owners that their concern is a street vendor setting up shop next to their established business, the business that they've gone to get permits and in some cases, conditional use permits and things like that. So they've gone through a full process to establish themselves. And the concern is that a street vendor would just kind of set up shop on the sidewalk. So my question to staff with regard to item number 1 here is, will we just allow for vendors to set up shop anywhere on a sidewalk? Because I see that there's Senate Bill 946 that is, we're wanting to comply and follow this new Senate bill. So my question is, I want to better understand what changes we're making, and when it comes to the sidewalk vending specifically, because I items 2 through 7, I'm good with. I see like a designated space for a special event or street vending in a park, unless there's an exclusive agreement already. So all of that is fine with me. I just want to take into consideration the concerns of our existing business community and what they've expressed about a street vendor setting up shop right outside the door. So if you can help me understand that a little bit more at the next briefing, that would be really helpful.
Thank you, Council Member. And yes, we have, with the assistance of Silver and Wright, our special legal counsel on this matter, and I wanted to introduce Arthur Shin to please come forward, who's been assisting us, along with Curtis Wright of that firm, but tonight is represented by Arthur Shin. He's taken a close look at our municipal code, chapter 122, related to sidewalk vending, and we have a good idea of the areas that can be. I'm going to let him discuss it just for a moment, but we have a good idea of how we can make it easier to read and easier to follow. Right now it is confusing. And so if you could, Arthur, just give a very brief idea of the general direction of where we're going to probably move forward or recommend that the council suggest in relation to the sidewalk vending ordinance, please.
Of course, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Essentially, what Senate Bill 946 did was make it so that the cities and municipalities are going to be far more restricted in what they can do to prevent sidewalk vending in certain locations. That doesn't mean...
Sorry, can you turn on your microphone?
I believe it is on.
Oh, okay. Just speak a little bit closer to it.
Sure, no problem. It doesn't mean that the city is no longer able to restrict sidewalk vending in certain locations. It's just that it's going to have to be a very much more broader allowance for street vendors to sell their items on sidewalks. To speak to the council members' concerns, there are certain portions of the Baldwin Park Municipal Code that might run afoul of certain portions of SB 946, and I think those are what we need to address a little more succinctly and clearly. Because, like I said, there are certain restrictions that the city can continue to impose on sidewalk vendors. I don't know at this stage, because I wasn't looking specifically at that, but I don't know exactly how far we can push that with regards to businesses and things of that nature. There is a very specific prohibition against prohibiting sidewalk vendors from vending in certain locations. So that's one aspect of things I generally wanted. I think I would make a recommendation that the city take a more general view of that. The current restrictions that are on the municipal code now, they are, I believe I spoke with Mr. Martinez about this, they're kind of scattered, roughshod through the one section of the municipal code. So there's a section that says, essentially, thou shalt not vend in these areas. And then it'll talk about where you can do things, where you can't put chains on your carts and things of that nature. And then there's another section about thou shalt not vend in these areas as well. And so I think consolidating that and keeping in mind SB 946 and streamlining the municipal code is something that I would personally recommend to the city council, and I think that if the city council does amend the municipal code, because it looks like it's going to have to because of 946. It might make things a little clearer for street vendors and, frankly, for city employees as well as to where sidewalk vending can take place.
Great.
So my question is, when do we have a better understanding of where vending can take place? Is it at the next briefing or?
That's fair. When I first was brought onto this project, I was tasked with looking at the hurdles that sidewalk vendors have to go through to become a licensed sidewalk vendor in the city of Baldwin Park. So that's a very specific task. What came up with 946 was, and as regards to the current the current Baldwin Park city ordinances, is 946 specifically says that a city cannot prohibit certain types of vending in certain locations, and I believe there's one section of Senate Bill 946 that says specifically that animus toward the sidewalk vendors is not a reason to prevent the sidewalk vendor from selling in certain locations. That being said, and Mr. Martinez shared with me some of the photographs of some of these sidewalk vendors, and they're fairly elaborate. I'm sure the council is well aware of the scope and the size of some of these sidewalk vendors, and I don't think that would be prohibiting that type of operation is something that would run afoul of 946, I should say. I think you would be very well within your rights to say you can't have this kind of enclosure. You can't have tents going across the sidewalk and things of that nature. Again, I'd have to look more specifically at 946 and related to the municipal code currently to see if what can stay in the what current prohibitions can stay in the municipal code now versus what needs to be clarified, what probably needs to be dropped, and that would require a little bit of time to do, but it's not. It probably wouldn't take very long, quite honestly. And I believe this 45 to 60 days that we're contemplating, I can probably get that done for you.
You know, it would help if you could identify stationary versus like mobile street vending. Maybe that can also help us address, this, because again, I think some businesses express that, their concern is mostly with those, and you mentioned some have very elaborate setups, and, they're stationary, and they're very close to existing businesses in some cases. And so I think my question, maybe to clarify this piece a little more at the next round, the next briefing, would be in the street vending that is allowed, then is it stationary or is it mobile, so that, they have to kind of continue moving, or can they set up shop on the sidewalk, anywhere that they choose?
Right.
So that would be my question, and I would want more clarity.
Right,
So,
and there is a distinct difference between, mobile vendors and stationary vendors, and that is something that SB 946 does mention as well. And I know that the municipal code already addresses some of that as well in the current stage, in its current form. I believe what would need to be done is just reconcile the municipal code to 946 just so that there's no conflict, because if someone was asked to enforce a provision of 946 in the future, a provision of the municipal code in the future, where it runs afoul of the current law now, may cause the city some issues with the inability to enforce certain provisions that the city would like to enforce. And so rather than deal with that issue later on where the city is no longer allowed to enforce an ordinance that you thought you were going to be able to enforce, it's probably best to nip it in the bud now, clarify it now, so that there's no question about it later on down the road when you do have enforcement actions.
Then, Mayor, really quick, when we bring this back, can can we also get more clarification on item number 3, develop of a financial loan and/or grant assistance? Is this only going to pertain to the street vendors, or is this something that's going to be generalized towards small businesses? Because if we start allocating just to one, not the other, we got to kind of look at this as, these are small businesses as well. And then on the other one that I want clarification on is item number 4, support the dedication of a staff member in the community development department. Is this street vendor liaison going to be someone that we currently have staffed within the community development department, or will this have to open it up to hire a new staff member for that department? And then also, what would be the cost of that when we bring this back, please?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. And so I kind of tried reading some ordinances from neighboring cities. And I think I want to say that I recall reading one of the things that was in there was it doesn't pertain, like this ordinance doesn't pertain to private property, and so I think that's something that we should be. I don't see it in here, but I think it's something we should look into. Street vending is, I think here we're there's a different notion about it, but street vending is kind of on the rise, right? And so you see prominent areas like Pico Rivera Sports Arena has their own thing. I think they call it like Avenue 26. And we've seen a lot of, if you pay attention to that type of field, you see a lot of private businesses also opening up and having, quote unquote pop-ups. So things like this could also, kind of reduce the stress on the city. And technically we'd be having a private landlord kind of set up an event rather than us all the time. So it leaves room for us, and it also leaves room for them to get off the sidewalk, get onto private property, and probably have access to a sink. So that's something that I would like to see as well. So I don't know if there's any more questions or concerns from the council or staff. If not, so just to reiterate, it sounds like this is just kind of some direction for bringing it back later, right? Great. Okay. Do you want to make a motion, Councilor?
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion to move forward to not only receive and file, but also bring back at a later time within 45 to 60 days all the various comments and questions that all the council members, mayors had regarding this. In addition, I also want to make sure that we correct, the last item on second page where it says enforcement of the city's municipal code 122.99 will resume in January. I believe it's a typo. It should read in January 2021 or 2022, not 2020. Sorry, not January 2011. That said, that is my motion.
Great. Second. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you for that. And I believe, was it Councilmember Garcia has the floor on item number 8?
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted a quick overview from, I think it's our city manager on item number 8, and just a quick high level, summary.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. And yes, we did a number of things. The city team initially, and then with all of the other organizations, the 6 represented organizations, SEIU being one of them, that we wanted to bring some sense of consistency and commonality of approach, and something that is universal for the entire workforce. One of the big key things that we did early on was to ask one of the member units to reopen their contracts so that we would be able to then negotiate common terms across the universe of the unions, all 6 of them. So we had a contract currently in effect with one of the unions, 3 groups. I shouldn't call them a union; they're an organization. The City Employees Association, City Managers Employee Association, and the Confidential City Employees Association. So 3 groups whom had a contract in full effect. So in real terms, we would not have been able to negotiate with them because they had a contract in effect. but because we knew that at some point, and this we felt was the right time to bring consistency and bring equity, and in some areas parity, and in some areas equitability. That this will be the time to go through that effort, as painful as it would have been, and as we thought it might be, to ask a union to reopen their contract. They acceded to the reopening. That was a first big, huge thing that we accomplished early on, and thank you to my team, Laura and Rose, and that we were able to get the union, that particular group, to reopen their contract. That allowed us then to look at COLAs in a sense of universality. The COLAs that we are proposing to you today and the agreements are the same across the board. No one is getting more, no one is getting less than all 6 represented employees. Employee organizations have the same COLAs. That was not always true. In fact, that wasn't true in the past. We introduced a concept that was applied to some of the unions, some of the groups prior, but not to all of them, and that is longevity. And longevity is something very, very fundamental on how the city views our employees. You know, we tell our employees, we want you to come and work here in BP. This is a great place to work. All of us who work here now know that it is. But that's what we tell our employees when we first hire them. And we want them to make a career out of working in Baldwin Park. We want their loyalty. We want their dedication. We want their commitment. But longevity was only being given to some of the organizations, not all of them. And yet, you know, that's fundamental. We thought, the negotiations team and the organizations felt the same way. So now longevity applies across the board. It's still not at parity, and we understood that, you know, we needed to keep an eye on the financial sustainability of the city concurrently. So that was an excellent point to illustrate the common ground that we were able to reach with our partners. Our partners were reasonable. They didn't say we want parity on longevity, because we didn't promise that, we didn't offer that, and we didn't achieve parity on longevity, but we did offer longevity for everyone. So that's also across all of the represented unions, Councilmember Garcia. And then, you know, there's something new to the workforce, which we are very thrilled about. Our human resources manager introduced the idea of forming labor management committees. Now, we generally think of labor management committees as a dispute resolution group. And yes, they can help with that, you know, or preventing conflict in the workplace, or preventing, you know, disagreements, or resolving disagreements. And yes, they're intended to do that, but they're also intended to be partners in the business of the city, meaning that, you know, ideas of revenue enhancement, for example, ideas on how to run the city more effectively and more efficiently, how to be more responsive to our residents. All of that will be part and parcel of these labor management committees in true partnership. So, you know, while we're happy to say that we're not a organization in conflict, that having these labor management committees then will focus on all the great positive things. So some great new things in this MOUs, but, you know, the one thing that, and certainly appreciate the SEIU folks who spoke to the tenor of the negotiations, you know, and I think that went a long way. We were able to complete the negotiations within the time frame that you gave us. I remember telling you that we would be completed and done before the end of the year, and this is the last meeting of the City Council. So I think we accomplished that, partners. Thank you, my city team. Thank you to all, and most importantly, thank you for your support, council members and Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. And I was looking at all the, I mean, I'm going to say that this is a pretty generous package that's being presented to us this evening. And, we've talked about it, I think, at length. And one thing that we wanted to express to our city employees is our appreciation for just being so adaptive during a very uncertain time with COVID-19. And, we're still going through it, but I think the worst, and I hope that the worst is behind us. So this is our way of expressing appreciation, I think. It is generous. And I did see that, some of this is, or most of it is being paid through our general fund surplus. So I wanted to make sure that that's not tapping into the reserves. But beyond that, I wanted to, because it is, I think, a very generous package, I wanted to ask if I saw that the certification pay averaging $100 per month, if we could just hold that at $100 per month and cap it there, because I think everything else has been pretty generous.
Councilmember Garcia, which particular one? I'm sorry.
There's, let me see, in the staff report on, it looks like page 3. There's a summary of universal benefits negotiated between city and bargaining groups. And there are the COLAs, which is 2% and 5,000 premium pay, then 3% and 3% in the next 2 years. Then it shows the longevity pay, and then we move to medical benefits, and then we move on to certification pay as the last item on this list. And it says here averaging $100 per month, depending on type of certificates. And I was just, can we just cap?
I know we have multiple certificates, and there's a range of dollar amount for each certificate. I think the most we have is $250 for a particular certificate. And, while I might be tempted to say, yeah, we can, but of course what that means, Councilmember Garcia, is we have to go back to the table, right, with all of the 6 units or any one of the 6 unions that have the certificate in their MOU. So, it would require that we go back to the table.
If you don't mind me, Enrique, quick question. Based on the certificate pay, did we limit the amount of certificates per staff member?
Yes, it's one.
Okay.
Only one certificate. It does serve as a great inducement for folks to become specialized in their particular area. So we receive a benefit. The city receives a benefit. But yes, there are a couple of certificates that go up to $250, Councilmember Garcia.
Okay, but I think what I just heard is, so it's not capped at 100, but at least it's capped at one certificate, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's good. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, and Enrique, I would like to take this time to thank you for taking the leadership in these negotiations. I know that we've discussed this several times, and one of the things was fairness, right? And I think that for once, a lot of our staff members, we're anticipating some type of compensation, and I think this year we were able to provide something that was fair across the board. So I want to say thank you for taking the leadership in these negotiations, Enrique.
Thank you, Councilmember, and of course myself and on behalf of the team, the 3 of us, we thank you.
Great, thank you. I want to thank you as well, Enrique. I know I did earlier, but I think we're all very appreciative of your efforts and your number skills. I think this is a win for everybody and our staff. I know that they, I think at the end of the day, it's it's a package that's well deserved. Our staff has always worked hard, and during the pandemic, I mean, they showed it. They were here, they were getting things done. Public Works was getting things done. Parks and Recs was getting things done. Accounting was getting things done. Everybody was getting something done. So I am very excited, to be able to pass this MOU and show our gratitude, right? We always say we're grateful, and today we get to show it officially. So, but I know that this was an item that was pulled by Councilmember Garcia. So, Councilmember Garcia, if you want to make a motion.
I would just say thank you to Enrique, to the team, for, getting us through this. Negotiations are never easy. And like I said, I think that this is a generous package. And so now our attention moves to generating more revenues and making sure that we will be financially sustainable moving forward. So with that said, I'll go ahead and move to approve.
Second.
Great. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Thank you for that. I believe at this moment we are at item number 10, and that was approve a request for service for proposals at Calino Avenue. I know we heard a little bit about from the residents there, our neighbors, and this is a pretty big deal, and I'm very excited that we were able to do this. This is one of those expenditures that goes through ARP funding because it is a infrastructural upgrade, and the very neat thing about ARP is that it allows us to work with the private property in order to get those upgrades done. So, I just wanted to bring it up. I know it's been something that's been in talks for years. So I really do think it is a big win, not just for us, but, for the residents and their quality of life. And, I'm very excited to see this through. So thank you, Sam, for working on this. I know you worked on this pretty quickly. I feel like it's only been a month or two since we talked about this, and we're ready to approve. So I just want to make a motion to approve item number 10. Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. City Clerk, roll call.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Because it was like 3 seconds.
Councilor Damian.
All right.
Put the wealth around.
We need a buzzer.
Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And so our last 2 items I pulled, I know that we have we have the Steve McLean settlement, and I think that is something very important for the community to know about, because, it's one of the things I get often reached out to about is, the headlines, right? And we see a lot of headlines regarding litigation and, the type of money that gets paid to a lot of these people that challenge the city. So I am very happy to say that, we've settled this for $150,000, which is, I think, a best case scenario for the city. This was something that made headlines. It made headlines not just on the newspaper, but also on TV. So, I want to thank our legal counsel as well for getting this done. And I do think that this is a best case scenario. Of course, the individuals that were named in this lawsuit are no longer on the council. And so, I think that's also something to keep in mind. Not a settlement that has anything to do with the council. But, I do think it's important that the city residents and our population is aware of what's happening with these lawsuits, that they don't get lost. I know a lot of the times, news channels jump on the idea of talking about the claim, but they never talk about the settlement agreement. I'm not sure if this will get any publicity, but I do want to make sure that people are aware that, that this is a win for the city, not, a 7 or 8 figure settlement. It's a 6-figure at a very low range. So I do want to make a motion and
Mr.
approve.
Mayor, if I may.
Oh, yes, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. Yes, as you can imagine, I'm quite happy that our legal team was able to negotiate this. So thank you, Robert and the rest of the folks that helped on this. It's quite disappointing that this is how the relationship ended with this particular individual and employee. Obviously, it's never something. Our hopes is never something that if somebody decides to leave the city, that they depart in such a way that we essentially have to provide some sort of monetary compensation. But I think, given the circumstances, this is the best alternative instead of going through a lengthy lawsuit and very, which I have no doubt that we would win. That said, thank you very much and support your motion.
Great, thank you. So at this moment, I will make a motion to pass item number 15. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you. Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And so our second one is
Mr. Mayor, I thought it's also important to mention that, we had 3 open chief of police lawsuits this year under the direction and guidance of the council. All 3 of those have now been settled. So all of our chief of police cases are now behind us and start the new year, fresh.
Great, thank you. Not with fresh claims. So, yes. So then we have item number 16. And this is another win that Enrique had a big part of. So we want to thank you for that. I know that there's been an ongoing battle, I think, for like a decade or more. So it's very exciting to get this out of the way. I think the city, former and current council have done everything they could to change this. And we to the point where we were ready to continue, and it was I think it was made clear that the city had done everything it could. I know that this is important, especially for the residents in the north side. So I do want to make sure that we have a press release so that the community is aware of what's going to happen, and also aware of what it means. I think that there was a disconnect between residents. I think there's this notion that an injunction can be forever. I think one of the most important things to clarify is that an injunction is not forever, and that at some point it was going to have to come to an end, and this was going to be built one way or another. So I do want to make sure that we have a press release for that, and I think also the McLean one, so that people are aware of settlements that are coming to the city. And that way, we kind of take the charge on the narrative rather than the opposite team. So, Enrique, thank you for, helping with item number 16. I think, we got, not only did we settle it, but the city is getting $300,000, and I believe that that's to help mitigate any sort of pollution coming from that area. So that is a big win. So I just want to make a motion to pass item number 16. Can I get a second?
Second.
And then City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you. Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. So at this moment, we move.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we had item number 14. I think there was an item that I think was inappropriately uploaded. I think there were some gaps in the number on that one, but I think staff shared the appropriate one with us earlier. Is that correct? I just want to make sure that the version that's online now, residents are aware of that.
Oh, City Clerk, can you answer that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Councilmember. Councilmember Hernandez, yes, so that was for item number 14. The recommendation was updated, and for the record, let me go ahead and share that.
And I only bring it up because the one that's online, or the one that was shared perhaps with the public earlier, doesn't actually have figures. It's just placeholders in there, and so I'm fine with what's been shared with me. I just want to make sure that the public has full transparency and doesn't think that we're trying to cover up or pass something without having the figures in there. And I know it's just a minor error on, it happens. It's not a big deal.
Thank you. I'm going to pull it up right now, and I will state that for the record. It was item number 14, and there was a memo sent to the City Council earlier today with that correction.
I see. It says it doesn't have. So it says there's a fiscal impact of X amount of dollars to the general fund and X amount to the X fund for a total of 12,000. So I see what you're saying.
Yes, so the recommendation, sorry, Mayor, if I may. The recommendation is to approve an amendment to agreement with California Cleaning Maintenance for citywide janitorial services and authorize the Director of Recreation Services to execute the amendment and authorize the Director of Finance to appropriate additional funds to cover the increased costs from January to June 2022 and make necessary budget adjustments. And the fiscal impact, the total amount is $12,263. There is a table that is represented, and that is the total for fiscal year 2021-2022. There is an additional appropriation to the general fund, and we will upload this document online so that the public is aware.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. So at this moment, we move to City Council acting as successor agency of the dissolved Community Development Commission, and there is a consent calendar. So I will make a motion to pass consent calendar item. Can I get a second? And then City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Second.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And so at this moment, we do move to reports of officers, and that is reorganization of the City Council, selection of Mayor Pro Tempore.
Mayor? Oh,
I like to have Mr. Danny Damian as Mayor Pro Tem. Nominate, sorry.
I'll second that.
Great. City Clerk, roll call.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Mayor Damian. I'm sorry, Councilmember Damian, Mayor Pro Tem to be.
You're already being promoted.
Sorry.
Let's take it one step at a time.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
yes.
Oh my goodness, you guys are trying to make him jump the ladder just one step at a time. But yes, so we do have a plaque for our outgoing Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Avila. So, and I believe Susan Rubio's office has something for you as well. So if you want to come up here real quick. Of course. So, our outgoing Mayor Pro Tem, Alejandra Avila, the City of Baldwin Park wants to present you with this plaque in recognition of your service from 2020 to 2021. And then, of course, I am grateful to have you as my Mayor Pro Tem, my first year here. You're a great partner and a great and exceptional leader. So thank you for being part of the council.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, one nice picture. Don't leave yet because then she's getting senators. Oh, you got to turn it on.
Thank you. So on behalf of Senator Susan Rubio, we would also like to congratulate outgoing Mayor Pro Tem Alejandra Avila. The certificate reads, "It is our privilege to present you with this certificate in recognition of your outstanding leadership. We applaud your relentless commitment to uplifting our most vulnerable residents and serving the community with great honor and respect. Your tenure has brought lasting success to our shared constituents. Congratulations."
Where are we going? We're going here, here, and here. Hi, John.
Great, thank you. And then, of course, congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Damien, who I think it's a well-deserved title. I know Mayor Pro Tem is always vigilant and on top of things, and he's always looking at all the details. So I think it's a well-deserved title. Do you have any word for us, Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, I want to say thank you to you guys for showing me the confidence to be Mayor Pro Tem. I want to thank our outgoing Mayor Pro Tem Avila for the outstanding job and for the collaboration on the council for this year. So I want to say thank you guys very much.
Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Damien.
Thank you, Councilmember Avila.
Great, thank you. And then so we have the Baldwin Park Finance Authority regular meeting, and I believe we have a consent calendar for the treasurer's report. So I will make a motion to receive and file. Item number 1. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Estrada?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
Yes. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold
Councilmember.
on. I'm sorry. Councilmember Avila.
Yes.
I got to get used to that. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Damien.
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And then we have our Baldwin Park Housing Authority regular meeting, and we have a consent calendar, and I will make a motion to pass our consent calendar, items 1 and 2. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes. Thank you. Mayor Estrada.
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilmember Avila. Mayor Pro Tem Damien.
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And I know we are all eager to head on out.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
I wanted to, under the council communications and requests, I wanted to ask staff. I received a constituent request, so this is directed to our Director of Public Works, Sam Gutierrez. Sam, will you look at the speeding and any traffic or speed mitigation on Main Avenue, that's Little Main, between Merced and Francisquito Avenue? Because what's being reported is it's just a long stretch and we have a lot of racing going down that street, and it's a pretty small street. So if we could look at any speed mitigation measures, or study that street a little bit, and if you could let us know what the recommendation is.
Absolutely.
From your department. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And then I did have so as we keep talking about the downtown, we're looking at the Zocalo and City Hall. I think one of the good idea, and I think it would be the right time, is to re-landscape our Metrolink, especially the bushes. Maybe put in some drought-tolerant planting, maybe some colors that mix well with the color scheme of El Zocalo. Since we are trying to get people to get off the Metrolink and into our plaza, I think it would be kind of a little bit of a pathway, right? And putting it together. Something we can look into that.
Mayor, before we go,
Yes.
Sam, can you give me a quick update on the Puente Wash?
Oh, yes,
Please.
absolutely. Are you talking about the homeless
The homeless
encampment?
section, yeah, behind Jack in the Box. How are we doing with that?
Yeah, so we've been working really closely with Caltrans, and over the years, what used to take about 2 days for us to coordinate and clean up, now with a new process that they've implemented, we're going on 2 months. So they implemented a new homeless evaluation task force, and so now we have to go through a different process. And so we enlisted the assistance of the Assemblywoman's office, and now we're hearing back from them. We put in a customer service request number, and they responded. So they're going to be looking into it, and we're hoping that we can get it cleaned up before the end of the year.
Perfect, thank you. And so now that's going to be the new process, correct?
Correct. That is the new process. So
But
now,
hopefully they'll respond quicker, since they know we will take it up further.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Speaking of that, I don't want to say the wrong information, but I think I got an email today from, might have been from Caltrans, and they had a survey. So if we are unhappy with them, we can all check our email and maybe type something to them, because I do know, I think they could do a little bit better with maintenance. I've seen one of the biggest ones is the ramp on Fraser. There's a lot of debris there. But yeah, so something to keep in mind, everybody on the council and potentially staff, if you got that email, we can fill that one out. Yeah, so we are at the end of our last council meeting for the year. And before we end, I do want to thank all of our staff for, the great year that we've had. We've gotten a lot done. And I'm very excited for next year. And then Enrique, of course, who took on the ship sometime between, so you're almost at your year. Chief, I think you're close to breaking a record, so I'm very excited for that as well. But but we've been, but we really are doing a lot of things, and I know that sometimes, there's tension up here and whatnot, but I think overall, we've gotten a lot done together, and I'm very grateful for that, and I think that's a great way to end the year. So congratulations to all of you, and of course all of council for all the things that we've been able to accomplish.
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Nope.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Hernandez.
We need name tags here. Name tags. No, thank you. Likewise, I want to certainly make sure we thank our staff for all of your incredible work, Enrique and all our executive directors and chief. Again, this past year was not an easy year. As we try to continue to ease out of this pandemic, I just want to make sure that we're continue to be safe, as we move forward. Encourage your friends and folks and families to get the booster, because that will help limit, the harms of COVID. And, unfortunately, we've continued to see that. And in fact, we've actually seen an increase in the last 2 weeks as a result of Thanksgiving. And hopefully that's not the case as we move forward. But again, just thank you again for everyone. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to my colleagues here. As the mayor mentioned, I think, obviously we've had differences on certain issues, but, generally I would say 99 or 95% of the time, we're all lockstep as we move forward in the various programs or services that we're always advocating, on behalf of our residents. So with that, thank you, and I'll have a blessed holiday.
Here.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Councilmember.
Everybody has a different title today. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. I hope you spend a lot of time with your family. Remember to enjoy every second that you have with your loved ones, and take some time off to be with them. So Merry Christmas to everyone, to our staff, to our community, to everyone, and may you have a healthy and a happy new year as well. God bless.
Mayor, really quick.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I also want to remind everybody about La Posada coming up on Monday. I believe it's the 20th. St. John's will have mass. I believe it's at 6 p.m. And then we'll be having the celebrations at the Morgan Park Amphitheater at about 7 p.m. Also want to wish all of you, my colleagues, our city staff, and our residents a Merry Christmas. Que todos tengan una feliz Navidad y un próspero año nuevo. And I just want to let you guys know that it's been a pleasure working with you guys up here for this first year. Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. I just want to wish all staff a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I want to thank everyone from our city manager, CEO, to the executive team, to all staff for just the hard work and the dedication to this city. Like I said earlier, especially during an uncertain time with COVID. And like Councilmember Hernandez said, now we're experiencing the variants. And so everybody, please stay safe and healthy in the holidays. I hope that you get to enjoy some downtime. And that's something new that I think we're doing this year. So, well-deserved and enjoy. But Mayor, I also feel very compelled to talk a little bit about an item that was on the agenda this evening, and that has to do with the MRF at the northern side of our city. I do remember that back in 2008 or 2009, our residents came out in the numbers. I remember it was more than 200 residents came out to a public hearing. And we're speaking out against a project that was being proposed by the city of Irwindale, and that was the Athens Materials Recovery Facility. And I really want to underscore that the city of Baldwin Park did everything in its power to advocate on behalf of the residents of Baldwin Park, and to work with the city of Irwindale to find alternative solutions. And after more than a decade of very strong advocacy based on concerns of environmental justice, air pollution being the number one concern, the judge favored the city of Irwindale. So I just want us to really underscore that in communicating that to our residents, because it was not a light undertaking. And the good news is that we fought hard, we advocated strongly, and we were able to get reimbursed on at least 50% of our legal fees. So just to underscore, we did everything possible, and I just want that to be communicated to our residents, because it was very important in these last this last decade. And so we go into the new year with exciting projects here in the city of Baldwin Park, and continuing to advocate for our residents in the best way that we can. So leave it there, and Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. Before I forget, City Attorney, was there anything to report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council did consider multiple items in closed session. They took no final action on any of the closed session agenda items, so there's no reportable action. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. And so at this moment, I will move to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second? Any
Second.
Any objections? Not. Night, everybody. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Good night, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Good night. Bye-bye.